So, we have a speech to talk about. State of the Union, specifically. We're talking about how Donald Trump basically used the speech to expose his opponents in a lot of interesting ways. Plus, we'll tell you about one of the dumbest proposals that has ever been put forward in Congress, the Green New Deal. Plus more. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
And welcome to Micah and The Hatman on Politics Live. All right, let's get into it. I am a little under the weather, but here nonetheless. And just as a reminder, folks, it is National Pizza Day, and I have a pizza here. So, and a Pepsi.
I do not have a pizza. I had hamburgers and a barbecue sandwich.
Hatman apparently did not get the memo.
No, I did not get the memo.
But no, I am feeling a little under the weather, kind of fighting off a headache right now. Took a good nap earlier, but let me say this: I will be talking about Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for my review this week on the Entertainment Podcast, and I will say right now, do not try playing that game with a headache. Holy shit, that was not easy to do. So. All right, let's go ahead and get into the start of this, though. The State of the Union, 2019.
State of our Union.
Yes. Delayed, of course, because of the shutdown, or at least that's what Pelosi's excuse was. Not really legitimate. They could have done it in the Senate, or they could have done it in the Senate if they wanted to.
They could have done it anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, even North Carolina offered to let him hold it there.
They should have done it on the border. I'm being dead serious. They should have done it there.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, because technically all the Constitution requires of him is to deliver the State of the Union. Like, that can be written or otherwise. I think Harry Truman was actually the first president who actually delivered a spoken State of the Union or State of the Union address to Congress.
Exactly. So let's kind of go over the big hits on this one for the first few minutes. Is the one thing that stuck out to me is that Trump's the big theme of Trump's or two themes of Trump's speech were A, the country is improving, and he listed a myriad of ways that it's improving economically, that it's improving when it comes to the criminal justice, both in criminal justice reform and criminal justice application. He discussed, foreign affairs improvements that we've seen, the situation with North Korea and the negotiations there, moving or recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And of course, he did other things like recognized, World War II veterans. The part where we had the soldier reunited with the man who was on a train to a death camp during the Holocaust was actually a very touching moment for me. So that one caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for that, and I was like, oh, ooh, the feels, man. So, but no, that was seriously an incredible moment. And then I'm trying to think if there was any other big highlights from the positive stuff. Before we start talking about what the Democrats' reactions were. Oh, burn your enthusiasm. So I sadly did not Yes, I sadly did not get the chance to put together a clip for this. But the my favorite moment, aside from the recognizing the World War II veterans, was, of course, Bernie Sanders getting destroyed in all but name when Trump said America will never be a socialist country.
And most of the chamber stood and applauded for that.
Yes.
Except for Bernie Sanders and
Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah. Like there were audible boos when he mentioned the fact that people were wanting to turn America socialist. Audible boos in the chamber. And when you zoom in on Bernie's face after he said that, you could almost hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme in the background of bum 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 ba-da, 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 ba-da. Like, I was just laughing my ass off. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's awesome. Oh, it was great. But it was a good point. He basically pointed out why America never should be. This nation was founded on liberty. It was founded on the power of the individual, not government fiat. Exactly. So, but let's talk about sort of the negatives. And there were no negatives with what Trump said, in my opinion. What I thought was the negatives is the things that the Democrats refused to stand up for.
Yeah.
This is the same game he played last time around.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because the speech itself was bookended by saying, like, we need to be a united country, one nation, not two parties. And yet you could still, like, obviously see the division in there. I mean, yeah, there were some moments where, pretty much everyone was on their feet, but no, for the most part, it was still right down the middle, fucking partisan.
Yes, very much so. But there were some outliers, and you could see that some of the outliers were looked at very strangely by other Democrats. I don't remember what it was, but there was one thing that Kristen Sinema got up and started applauding for that the rest of the Democrats around her were not doing. Then they stood up around her to not look stupid, but one senator next to her clearly leans over and says, "Watch your ass."
Oh yeah. Joe Manchin, I believe, was the only Democratic senator to shake Trump's hand too.
Yes.
So,
And there were points where the people around Ocasio-Cortez were standing up for what Trump talked about, and she was looking around at them like, "Am I supposed to be doing that?"
Mm-hmm. I don't think she stood.
One of them was. She did in a couple points, one of which was the women's jobs and more women in the Senate thing. But she, there were law enforcement parts where they were talking about reuniting families and things like that she was not applauding for, that other people were applauding for around her.
No, what do you expect? She's an all cops are bastards kind of person.
Yeah, and she's an idiot. I mean, we know that. We're gonna get to that here soon.
Yes.
But what this was is it really was something that Trump used to expose people. And that is, the very simple fact that he's very good at branding, and he's very good at promoting a brand, and he's very good at making sure that brand stays strong. And that brand for him has basically switched from the Trump real estate to the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to make sure that people looked at this and saw that there are people who are pro-America and there are people who are anti-America. He's very good at showing division. Even though he sometimes creates it, he's also very good at pointing it out when it shouldn't be there. And this, I think, was a really good example of that.
Well, yeah, exposure is the best disinfectant. Mm-hmm. Here we go. It's on full display.
So, needless to say, I like this speech.
Mm-hmm. I think most people did. I believe.
It had a great approval rating.
Yeah, I think the YouGov poll said it was like 97% of Republicans approved, 30% of Democrats approved, and 81% of Independents approved.
And that's the one that matters, because like we've constantly said over the last few months, is that it is the person in the middle that matters the most when the next election comes around.
And that's a huge margin too.
Mm-hmm.
4 out of 5 independents approved of it. That's great.
Yeah. Trump keeps on that note. He's getting reelected. That's just
considering the competition so far.
Oh yes, Competition's not looking good for sure. So, needless to say, though, here's the real question. Was this his best speech yet?
You know, it's strange because obviously, this is prepared.
Yeah.
You can tell when Trump is delivering prepared remarks versus speaking off the cuff. And I think, strangely, he's a better orator when he's not in front of a teleprompter.
Yes, I would agree. Though,
as far as speeches that he's delivered, though, this is, if not the best, this is certainly up there with him.
Yeah. Like, my favorite, or one of my favorite off-the-cuff moments was when he saw, what's her name, the Muslim senator for New York, who's, like, very anti-Jew.
Oh,
But you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Representative or senator?
Representative.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
Something Omar, I think.
Commenters will get it.
Yeah. When all the women were applauding, he looked at her and pointed at her and went, "You weren't supposed to applaud there." And she laughed. And I'm like, that's a lot of charm. So yeah, he's on the ball, I would think. He's doing fantastic in a lot of ways. And I'm, again, both of us kind of have our Ilhan Omar, that's it. We both have our fingers crossed that he doesn't have to, or he doesn't at all use executive power to build the wall, unless he's stripping that power from himself after he uses it. Like, that's the only way I would ever cheer it. So, because he has done a really good job of reducing the size of the executive branch, more so than I think any president since Reagan. And I would argue he's the best president since Reagan so far. He may end up being better. We don't know yet. It'll be crazy to think about. And it's going to be weird in 10 years when I'm in my 40s and talking to people about it. And I'm going to be like, Donald Trump was better than Ronald Reagan. That'll be weird.
That'll be strange to think of Hollywood personalities being good fucking presidents.
I know. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Green New Dumb.
Oh my God.
So
where do we start with this?
Let me say this right now. We told you from the get-go that if anyone from the Justice Democrats was elected to office, they were going to be the dumbest politicians of all time. Once again, Micah and Hatman were right. Because
get your shirts, get your mugs. We were right. Pick up that phone because we called it.
Yeah, exactly.
So where do we start with this?
Let's talk about the contents of the bill. What the Green New Deal is, and we briefly talked about this last week, I believe, was massive government takeover of the energy industry and other industries as well. In fact, there is a part of this that guarantees funds for people who don't want to work.
At least that was what was in the FAQ.
Yeah.
Which was on Ocasio-Cortez's website.
And we'll get to that in a second.
We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, economic security for all who are unable or unwilling to work, quote unquote.
Yes.
I mean, you have an entire clause in there about the necessity to create equity between majority and marginalized groups, which is pretty clearly redistribution.
At the point of a gun.
Yeah.
On top of, basically what this would do is it would destroy the energy industry as we know it. Completely. It would take away jobs for many, many Americans, probably in the millions. Entire states would probably economically go under. because they wouldn't have any money coming in. Because you just killed their industries. Say goodbye to coal country.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, all of the economic moving forward that it has seen would be gone.
Mm-hmm. Their oil rigs, done for.
Yeah. We would become Venezuela. Pretty much. You know, but in a different way. Because Venezuela still exports oil. Because that's all they've got. We wouldn't even be able to do that.
No. Well, I mean, what would we have except for apparently solar farms? Like, I didn't see anything in there about natural gas either.
Well, here's the real kicker. There's nothing in there about nuclear. We as a country have been sitting on our fucking hands when it comes to nuclear power for too long. And instead of that, which nuclear has come so far.
Yeah, it's clean fucking energy. But
yeah.
Everyone is so scared because of reactors melting down.
Exactly.
Like, how many
It's happened 3 times in 100 years.
Yeah. That's safe as shit. And on top of that, technology, is, especially for the sake of safety, is only going to continuously improve.
Exactly.
There's no reason to not start on that shit.
Yeah. And let's keep something in mind here. Green energy, quote unquote, is not feasible. It is not feasible to turn the entire country into windmills.
No. It would take decades. I mean, this is supposed to be a 10-year plan. It would take decades.
Yeah.
For that. And yes, I'm willing to say that yes, we should probably get to green renewable energy because coal, oil are finite resources.
But we talked about that on the overflow. Eventually, in the way that technology is moving forward, we will probably move away from it within 50 years. Yeah. Just naturally.
Yeah.
Because we're going to find better ways to use nuclear. We're going to find more efficient ways to power our vehicles. You know, and probably within 50 years, battery-powered cars will be more efficient. It wouldn't surprise me if there would be ways that, you know, you would have you could charge batteries for your car, and then instead of needing to go to a gas station every few hundred miles, you could just pop out the old battery, pop the next one in, and get moving.
Mm-hmm.
That will probably happen within 50 years. So, needless to say, when it comes to knowledge of technology, when it comes to knowledge of economics and things like this plan is idiotic. What's even worse is how badly the pitch has gone. People on the right and the left have been mocking Cortez for this.
There was an op-ed in the Washington Post, of all places, saying that this is basically what Republicans think that Democrats would fucking write. It is indistinguishable from parody.
Yeah, it really is.
Along with this.
It pretty much is. I mean, this is, like we were saying before the podcast, this is exactly what Republicans have been saying climate alarmists want to do from the get-go, and then you've got people like Cenk Uygur like, no, that's bullshit! Google it! We don't want to do that! Yes, you do! You fucking liars! And now you've been exposed, Cenk especially, by your own fucking candidate, you dumbass! He's got to be in full damage control right now. I don't follow him on Twitter, but I have a feeling if I looked at it, that's basically he's probably freaking the fuck out. Him and Kyle Kuklinski. God, I swear to God, the Young Turks makes people who follow the Young Turks are like the dumbest people. I'm sorry when it comes to knowledge of anything. But anyway, point being is that the handling of this afterwards has been hilarious. They took down the website that had the FAQ on it that basically said that they were... Yeah, within hours, because it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Ben Shapiro read the body of the bill on his podcast, so there's no covering up what happened. Ben's got the most popular conservative podcast in the nation right now. Like, everyone knows what's in it. Everyone knows it's ridiculous. And then on top of that, somebody who was apparently working with Cortez on this bill appeared on Tucker Carlson tonight and lied about it and got caught.
Mm-hmm. It's fake news. It's literally fabricated. It's a false version. And Ocasio-Cortez is saying the same shit too, but clearly it's not. So then her chief of staff has to say, "Oh, it's real. We did post it, but it was an early draft and it was unfinished." Well, that just makes it worse. You're saying you did have these provisions in here for providing income for people who are unwilling to work, eliminating emissions from cows and air travel. Like that was seriously part of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Truth really is stranger than fiction sometimes.
Oh yeah, this like I said, this has been hilarious. And the funny thing about this is there are rumblings that the Democrats are going to primary her. They're gonna work very hard to primary her.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they will probably succeed because the reason that she won was basically low turnout. Low turnout, and she basically got elected because of the color of her skin.
Yep. Well, she certainly got elected in the general because of the D next to her name. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking about the primaries. But if they move somebody into that district, which the Democrats are more than capable of doing, into that district who is basically not white and, very charismatic, they'll primary the fuck out of her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she'll get, like Brian Gilmartin said, she's going to get eaten alive.
Yeah. Because it's at the end of the day, it is not just because the Democrats are sharks, because they are. But on top of that, it is very simply that the establishment hates her because she's making them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And she's making them look bad because she's a fucking moron. So, my question to occasionally operating Cortex, though, is...
That one's good.
If it didn't work for Maduro, why the fuck do you think it's going to work for you, dummy?
No idea. I guess we need to pass the bill to truly find out what's in it, though.
Let's not go down that route again. But I do still think that's like if a bill like this ever got passed, it would be war.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
There would be war.
Oh yeah.
Half of coal country would get their rifles and start marching on Washington immediately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Black Knight Rex. She went to college and she thinks that'll help. She went to college. She's a bartender. She knows exactly what the average American wants, and that's not working and still getting paid for it.
I was going to say more beer in her in a low-cut dress, but, that's probably all they really gave a shit about when she was bartending.
To be perfectly fucking honest, I could use a drink after this shit.
Yep. All right. On to the next topic. Virginia. Close to...
flames.
Yes, close to where Hatman is. Oddly enough, there is actually a possibility that I might end up moving to Virginia at some point.
Hey, there you go. Well, I don't know. You might have to evacuate shortly after that.
Yeah.
The proposed ammo taxes and stuff.
Well, I was just going to go over there and take it over personally.
Oh, well, you can do that.
Because unlike some people, I've never worn blackface.
I have not worn blackface either.
And unlike some people, I've never raped anyone.
I haven't either.
So clearly I am considerably more qualified to be in government in Virginia than a lot of the people that are currently in government in Virginia.
You know what? We might have to fast track the Micah and the Hatman campaign and start in Virginia.
Well, basically what we'll do, in about 4 years, I'll be governor of Virginia, Hatman will be governor of North Carolina, and then we'll go for the presidency. We gotta wait for Hatman to turn 35. Well, you gotta wait for me to turn 35 too, but still.
Well, you'll get there before me.
Yes, because I am an old man. Wow, you did a basic human function. Exactly. And I'm more, and I'm more qualified for government in Virginia because of it.
It's crazy. It's crazy how, basic human decency somehow, like, gets away from these fucking people.
Yes.
It's absolutely fucking... But anyway, so we talked about Northam's nonsense on the last show, and now it gets worse. Remember how I said that there was no way that Northam was going to get out of this with his career intact?
Yes.
I think we found the only possible way that he could get out of it with his career intact. And that involves more people being thrown under the bus.
Pretty much, yes.
So, Attorney General for the state of Virginia, Mark Herring, admitted that... straight up admitted that he wore blackface at a college party. This is like right on the heels of Northam being really, resistant to the calls for him to resign, and everyone losing their minds over, oh my God, he needs to go. So we could have the first black governor of Virginia too, because Justin Fairfax is the lieutenant governor, so he'd take over, and that'd be appropriate, wouldn't it? Two racists get outed and a black dude takes over.
Yeah, about that.
He was accused of raping a woman. He was accused of raping 2 women. And his response to the first accusation, according to NBC, his response was, quote, "Fuck that bitch." So, needless to say, Richmond is on fire right now.
Yes.
Also, in something of a...
Which, by the way, we still believe in innocent until proven guilty, just so you know.
In an ironic turn of events, though, Justin Fairfax has hired the same legal team that Brett Kavanaugh used, and his accuser has hired the same legal team that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford used. What the fuck is going on here? What in the fuck is going on?
Politics are hilarious.
Remember how I said truth is stranger than fiction?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Suddenly, innocent until proven guilty matters again.
I know, right? It's
funny how that works.
It's really strange how it works about half the time. However, there are calls for him to resign.
Of course.
Tim Kaine, Terry McAuliffe, the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, and I believe the Congressional Black Caucus as well, have called on him to resign. All the Democrats that are running for president right now have called on him to resign.
And here's the thing. If he's not guilty, he shouldn't.
No. If he's not, absolutely not.
Because fuck optics. When it comes to this.
Agreed.
Innocent until proven guilty matters.
Mm-hmm.
If he is guilty of something, there should be a trial. And if these are lies, he has the right to take her to civil court and sue her for lying, because that's slander. Tortious interference, specifically.
Absolutely. Well, you have 2 accusers, too, so you can get both of them.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, he deserves to have his voice heard, like anyone else. And unless there's evidence of this happening, or testimony, or something along those lines, he should not be hung out to dry for it.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be in a society where you can blatantly just lie and say somebody raped raped you when they didn't. And we'll talk about that in the entertainment podcast, because it's obviously a sensitive subject for me. Mm-hmm. And the video that I did on the Vic Mignogna situation is, crosses a lot of the same lines. But the fact of the matter is that, drink, by the way, is Virginia is sort of showing its colors in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Because the whole blackface thing really is obviously tasteless. Yeah. More, like, first and foremost. But beyond that is the simple fact that, if a Republican had done that, people would have been pressuring them harder to resign. In this particular case, Northam isn't even thinking about resigning.
Exactly. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think he should for this. Unless there is clear evidence, and you can argue that, yeah, there was that incident where he refused to shake the black dude's hand that got caught on video. You could say, yeah, he has shown symptoms, good Lord. He has shown evidence of being a racist later in life. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then yes, he should step down. But for something that he did 35 years ago, I think that is enough time for someone to learn from their mistakes. I mean, I do believe in forgiveness. I certainly do. And I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt to people who do not repeat the bullshit that they did in their youth.
Yeah, because if it was just a joke, it's basically 4chan edge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can call him an asshole for it.
Because he was.
Naturally. I mean, there's really no incident where it's okay for that. Because
that was full-on minstrel show. That wasn't just putting some color on your... No.
Blackface in a Klansman? Yeah, no. Unless you're doing like some kind of bullshit, reverse fucking thing where it was a black dude in the Klan robes. That even then, that's kind of like pushing it. Mm-hmm. No, I don't see any sort of situation where that would be okay. But at the same time, like, yeah, everyone calling on him to resign for it, I think, is kind of jumping the gun. But then his press conference didn't help his ass either.
No, it didn't.
That was just stupid. Like,
you dummy.
And it's funny how this has kind of taken precedence over the fucking late-term abortion bill.
Yeah.
That was literally being talked about the day before this shit came out.
Yeah, he should resign for promoting infanticide.
That is... Democrats like to talk about morality, especially in this case.
What morality?
Yeah. Exactly. What is moral about that fucking bill?
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
All right. Final bit of the week. So Whitaker, the acting attorney general, who literally looks like Wilson Fisk. Like, seriously, look at him. He does.
Is it Matthew Whitaker or Matt Whitaker? I've heard it both ways.
I just go with Matt. But Wilson Fisk went in front of the Senate, or went in front of the House, and was grilled for possible interference with the Mueller probe.
Mm-hmm. So now he's acting attorney general, so he's overseeing it.
Yes.
But now they're all like, "You've been interfering, haven't you?" And he's like, "The fuck are you on about?"
Yeah.
And basically, that was his entire testimony. A lot of "the fuck are you on about?"
Yeah, basically. Because people were basically accusing him in the wording it differently. of interference in the Mueller probe when there was no evidence of such thing. They were asking whether or not he had talked to Trump about it, and there was no evidence that such a conversation even happened, so why they were asking is beyond me. It was basically trying to bring him up there and discredit him, and he was having none of it. There was even a point where he had said, "Your 5 minutes are up."
Yeah, I believe your 5 minutes are up.
And he was like, "I came here voluntarily." And at the end of the day, he didn't have to answer these questions. He didn't have to show up. Because the lines of questioning were idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond idiotic.
It's always a gotcha thing.
Yes.
It's nothing but gotchas and trying to get them, good lord. I'll be Southern. You know what? Fuck it, I'll be Southern. Trying to get them gotchas in fucking sound bites. Quick little nailed him so they can get the sound bite, get it on CNN that night. It's bullshit.
It is.
It's not about about finding the truth at this point. And that's what these inquiries are supposed to be for. That's what his testimony is supposed to provide. The truth. But the truth isn't good enough for them.
No, it really wasn't. The interesting thing that I thought when he continued to ask the head of the oversight committee is, what is the basis for these questions?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good question to ask. What is the basis of this question?
Yeah. But it's nothing but spin and evasion, because of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like congressional testimonies have just turned into complete shit shows.
Mm-hmm.
In the past year. I mean, between Peter Strzok, his smarmy fucking smug face, to the absolute fucking circus that was the Kavanaugh hearings, and now we've got this shit. Like, what the fuck? Who was it that was having a hearing where Cory Booker asked if she had any
LGBT law clerks? She's like, I'm not even a judge yet. I don't have law clerks.
Yeah, clearly it's fucking optics. They're not trying to find anything to change their minds. They're not trying to find the truth. They're trying to score points, because at the end of the day, the vote's still split down party lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's pointless.
See,
and the first person that refuses to fucking testify on the grounds that it's pointless it's just total bullshit, and they will not participate in a fucking shit show like that, will have earned all of my fucking respect.
Well, at the end of the day, these are supposed to be you're supposed to be searching for the truth here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not finding the truth when it comes to anything, because these lines of questioning aren't made to do that.
No.
They're made to, like Hatman said, made to get sound bites, made to get little things you can put on CNN to make you look better.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that it continues to just divide people, and it continues to just make a mockery of our government. And again, that's why I continue to emphasize that's why we need a smaller government anyway. Because these folks are not really interested in serving anyone but themselves. Because you have to be a narcissist to be in government at some point. Mm-hmm. So, and this is a good example of that.
Mm-hmm. Ghost is on the money again. They don't want the truth. They want to obstruct and impeach Trump.
That's what this meeting was. Is if he had said yes to any one thing, they would have drawn up letters of impeachment tomorrow.
It's always been the end goal. Impeach Trump, impeach Pence, get a Democrat in office.
Yep. Never gonna happen. Sorry, folks. President Pelosi ain't happening.
Waste of time, waste of money, waste of my goddamn brain cells.
Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the Q&A.
Q&A.
So, let me have a look and see what we have on the Discord server.
We have an email.
We have an email.
We have an email. Once again, if you want to email your questions, alex@hatman.net. Very easy to remember. So, from our weeb friend Chris, our Australian weeb friend Chris, live from the country where EVs are typically roadkill on rural roads. That's low.
That sounds awesome.
I know it's been said before, but I just wanted to make sure. What is the best payment option for donations? I know YouTube likes taking a giant cut from shouts, so whatever helps get the most money to you guys sounds better to me. This channel is not monetized anyway, so YouTube can't get a cut from it.
Exactly.
So, Micah, what is the best option to get us money for chicken fillets?
Streamlabs. The link is in the description of every single video we do. Every podcast, and if you donate while the podcast is going on, a notification will pop up. So that is the best way.
Can people donate even when the podcast is not going?
Yes. And please do let us know if you're just donating for the sake of donating, or if it's towards something, so that way we can make sure that we're doing whatever you're asking us to do.
Yes, if you have to, stick it in the email if you're donating, or as part of the Q&A, or just tag us on Twitter or something. Just get a word to us.
Yes,
you can
we
comment
do.
Streamlabs donation too, I believe.
Yes, we do have a Patreon as well. If you just throw in $1, you do get access to the Discord server. I have also restarted comic book reviews for every month. So if you want me to review a specific comic book, you can throw in $5 every month, and I will be more than happy to do a video on it for you. So that is another option. If Patreon is not something you guys want to get involved with, I understand completely. We are considering doing Subscribe Star instead, with that same sort of tier of $5, and then going from there. So, yeah, that is basically the long and short of that.
All right. And that appears to be all from politics from the email. So off to Discord and Twitter.
Oh, and I did mention this on the overflow, but when it comes to reviewing movies, all I would ask is basically make sure that the cost of the movie is actually being covered with, because if I don't own it, and then I'll just throw a little bit extra in for labor.
All right. Do we have anything on Discord?
No, not yet anyway.
Nothing on Discord yet. All right. So we do have some Twitter questions.
All right.
Both from Duke of Tumwater. I think both of these will fall into politics, so one goes to Overflow.
All right.
We'll answer the first one. Do you think conservatives showing off of a female and minority conservatives is an attempt to disprove the left's narrative is self-defeating and playing into their hands?
I don't think it's playing into their hands. I think that, first off, I do think that Republicans, generally the people that we put forward, are usually the best, regardless of what their background is, racially or otherwise. I think that people like Nikki Haley or others, it's pretty obvious that they're, Tim Scott being another one, that these are obviously great people, that these are people who deserve to be where they're at. But that's the point, is that it's to show that, it's not, people are not just their skin color, which, we believe that. It's the best come forward, and the best should. Alan West is another good example of that. So, I mean, probably one of the most celebrated philosophers of the conservative movement right now is Thomas Sowell.
Mm-hmm.
For good reason. The man's brilliant.
I did browse the Discord, and there was a question. I don't know if we answered this on Overflow or not, about the woke and or feminist commercials.
Oh, what was the question?
From Darth Bobcat. Thoughts on the woke and or feminist commercials from brands like Ram or Jeep I've been seeing on YouTube in the run-up to the Super Bowl. Are they trying to make people forget they make gas guzzlers appeal to a new audience, or what?
The basic idea is that there's a lot of people who are very woke-ish, are getting into, well, not even ish, are getting into advertising, and trying to influence and trying to tell people it's like, oh, we need to get more women doing this. If a woman was interested in a Dodge Ram, she was already interested in a Dodge Ram beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a very special kind of woman to be interested in a Dodge Ram, because it's not really going to fit what a woman's going to need in a vehicle. Because the big thing you need to keep in mind is that men and women are different. We look for things different. We look at things differently, because we are different. Welcome to sexual dimorphism, you idiots.
Mm-hmm.
That's my basic response to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly the goal is just wokeness. Woke for the sake of being woke. I mean, I don't think they're trying to make people forget they make gas guzzlers, unless they're trying to do like an environmentally friendly fucking thing. We'll get a certain representative on that. But no, it's nonsense for the sake of looking socially conscious, because that's the hip new thing now. You know, if you look like you give a damn about social movements,
progressivism is marketing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And pizza is delicious.
Sometimes depends on the pizza. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Heresy.
No.
Heresy.
It's the way the Lord intended it.
The Lord intended for Hawaiian pizza to be delicious, and it was.
And yet it
was
isn't.
Good.
Liar. Everybody shame Hatman.
Sweet and savory is a thing.
Not on
I will
pizza.
gladly. You know what? Sweet, savory, and spicy. I will gladly eat a pizza with pineapple and jalapenos on it. Screw all of y'all.
Shame Hatman more.
You ever make that shame button?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Coming. It's coming.
Everybody in the chat is shaming you. And someone threw a pancake at you.
Y'all have such shit taste. I am ashamed. I am ashamed of all of y'all.
Oh, goodness.
Jeez.
Okay.
I will pray for all of you and your taste buds.
All right, let's get to actual questions. So Kale Bach wants to know thoughts on people who say that anti-communists are anti-Semitic, even though communists were anti-Semitic.
They were very Karl Marx was incredibly anti-Semitic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was. And there was also another question of what we think about people who try to say that communism is a Jewish way of thought. What?
Yeah. Didn't we read from that? We were talking about how Dick Spencer basically is emulating shit from Mein Kampf.
Yes, he is. Yeah, and Marx was, I think his father was Jewish, but his mother wasn't, so that would make him only half a Jew. But no, and he was not religiously Jewish. And when it comes to a lot of like thought you would call Jewish, it is oftentimes based in the Jewish religion, not necessarily, you know, just because you're a Jew you think X, Y, or Z, which is it's fucking ridiculous. I've met plenty of Jewish people in my lifetime, and there is no, when it comes to politics, there is no Jewish thought aside from Israel should exist.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Marx literally wrote the original article, The Jewish Question. Sadly, Martin Luther did one too, which is probably the lowest point of Luther's life.
I still want to see.
It's argued that Luther was actually going senile at the time.
I still want to see some people on the alt-right like acknowledge the only thing from Marx that they like is on the Jewish question.
But no, when it comes right down to it, the idea that it has anything to do with Judaism in general is ridiculous. You know, there are, you know, like any other background, there are people who disagree and agree with certain philosophies. Because it's about ideas. It has nothing to do with, you know, like your skin color does not determine the way you think.
I mean, some people like to talk about Frankfurt School too. That's not no, that's different. Totally fucking different.
Mm-hmm. Well, even then, the Frankfurt School was a lot of people who oppose the Frankfurt School are Jewish too.
Exactly.
Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of others, and probably thinkers from beforehand that I'm forgetting.
I mean, that's not the evidence that Marxism is Jewish thought. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Not to mention,
it's retarded thought.
Yeah. Marxism has largely been implemented by people of several different backgrounds. Argue, you know, who were the two biggest Marxists of all time? In regards to body count, Lenin is number 2. Mao is number 1, a Chinese guy. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But, regardless, let's move on to other stuff. Koopa's Revenge wants to know, how long until the EU collapses in on itself? Will the Germans try to keep it afloat just like they did last time? Of course they will.
Absolutely.
Germany right now is one of the few economic powerhouses that's keeping the EU going.
How long until it collapses? That depends on how much longer it'll take for European nations to swing back to the right.
Pretty much.
Because you're seeing, you know, populist movements pop up all the time. And the left is using the excuse that, oh, this is all, you know, Russian shenanigans. These are all people who want to create Putin puppet states. The same fucking reaction, like, just across the board.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, maybe the left's fucking cultural domination has created this nonsense.
Yeah. One from Ontus Whisper says, thoughts on the Proud Boys leader whose bank got canceled due to his politics?
That's shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolute bullshit.
Now, as for USA entering a social status hierarchy, we've mentioned this before, but every time this sort of thing happens, people tend to forget. We are not defenseless.
No.
Gavin McInnes is going to start suing people. The Covington boys are starting to sue people.
Yep.
Lawsuit letters just went out this week to a lot of publications. We are not defenseless.
It's even so. Fucking canceling your bank account because of your politic, and they wouldn't even explicitly explain to him like what sort of terms that he broke, you know, why it was being enforced.
Yep.
That's bullshit.
And here's the thing: if they breached contract with him, which when you start your bank account, you do sign a contract with the bank, you can sue for that, and he should.
Absolutely.
Again, we're making a fucking t-shirt of that too. It just has Lady Justice on the front of it, and it just says, we are not defenseless. Because, dear God, man, people need to understand that. We are not defenseless. That's one thing about the United States. The system was created for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It was created with the knowledge that humans are fallible and can pull a lot of, to put it into layman's terms, a lot of stupid bullshit towards people. Mm-hmm. So it gives people the ability to defend themselves on multiple levels. Because it's about the individual.
As it should be. So let's talk about something ironic and kind of hilarious. Hardboiled Entertainment. Isn't it so appropriate that Northam's racism got exposed just after the abortion bill? See Margaret Sanger.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
We are one eugenics comment away from a complete fucking shit show.
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, some old conversation of his gets outed where he's talking about eugenics positively. That will be, I think, what sinks the ship for him.
Oh, absolutely. No, there would absolutely...
Either way, he's not getting reelected.
Oh, hell no, he's not getting reelected.
Like,
no,
he's fucked at this point.
No, he's a one-term governor now. No, this is...
When's his reelection? 2 years from now? Because guess who turns 35 in 2 years?
Well, there you go. No, I think they're for 4 years. I think they have 4-year terms.
Oh, that's right. Well, oh yeah, because he just got elected. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think it'll be something of a domino effect too. Like if one of them resigns, then the rest of them will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more pressure is going to be on Fairfax to resign. Ironically enough, and then once he's gone, then you'll get Northam and the AG too.
There is no good use for eugenics.
No.
All human beings have rights to life, liberty, and property. If you decide to take that away because of something to do with with someone's genetic code, you are a tyrant, and you are evil. There is no good use for eugenics.
There's all kinds of moral arguments with even things like designer babies now.
Yeah.
So, not something I really approve of, to be perfectly honest. But then again, I'm also kind of a traditionalist, and I don't even want to know like the sex of my child.
Well, that's a whole different argument. I'm talking about just like selective killing.
Well, even then, like designer baby, like that's still sort of like
that's genetic tampering.
It is. It's almost like the morally proper version of eugenics, if you will.
It's kind of scary in a different direction. Because it kind of falls into the whole Ubermensch thing.
Yeah. But between that and...
Which there is only one Ubermensch, and his name is B.J. Blazkowicz.
Well, officially now, yes. Yeah. Anyway.
But there's one question in here that I want to answer. We can talk about that, like, a different time. Monkeyland wants to know, how long do you think until Antifa starts killing people? It wouldn't surprise me if, and this is the sad state of things. It wouldn't surprise me if, and I think that this is the one reason that they haven't been declared a terrorist organization nationwide, just in Jersey, and that was, I think is the fact that they haven't like straight up murdered someone.
Yeah,
and I think that if they do, they would have good reason to declare them as such.
Well,
and I think that a lot of people who, I think that here's the interesting thing about this: Antifa, for better or worse, is on this weird spot where they are more of a gang than a terrorist organization in some senses, because again, but even then, gangs murder. Because they sit on this weird border of being a joke and a threat. They could be a threat, but they're largely, punks who don't know how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
And when I look at that sort of a situation, I think that is the line that probably none of them are willing to actually cross, because they want the revolution, but they don't know what revolutionaries actually do. Revolutionaries end up killing people.
Yeah, I think they're more coming to terms with the violence. With the rise of like your socialist rifle associations and shit like that, I think they're more coming to terms with the fact that if they want a revolution, they are going to have to start killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And the first step of that, I would argue, is the dehumanization of their enemies. yeah, anyone they declare is a Nazi is deserving of violence
Mm-hmm.
and is non-human, unforgivable. So that sort of erases any sort of.
But again, they're not
moral-
doing anything right now.
Oh no, they're not doing anything right
They
now.
didn't even come out during the midterms, like we
I
thought
still-
was possible.
I still think it's a matter of time. Redneck revolt as well. Yeah.
Well, Redneck
It's-
Revolt's even been a joke.
No, again, it's a gun club. I mean, you got.
It is, but they're not
Redneck
doing
Revolt.
anything. That's the thing.
They're not doing anything now.
Now, yes, but that's what I mean. Is that right now it looks like just a bunch of talk. But then again, that's oftentimes what these kind of folks are. They're all talk.
I still say it's a matter of time.
It's
I
good.
mean-
Well, yeah, it's one of two things. Because I do agree with you that that's definitely a possibility. It is either going to be they get super violent in the next couple of years, or they fade away. Because I think that they're starting to fade.
I think it'll be the former. I think as soon as the first person pulls the trigger and makes it okay.
Then more people will do the same. I agree.
Yes.
I do agree. I just think that it's a wait and see situation when it comes to what they're going to do. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Absolutely. So, and I don't want it to happen. Because again,
I don't either.
that would be...
I would rather be wrong in this case.
Yeah, there will be blood in the streets. Because that would be a point where everybody who has a rifle picks it up and says, we're not going to take it.
Keep yourself armed. I mean, and I'm always going to say people need to arm themselves anyway.
Learn to defend yourself.
It's for personal protection.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly.
I don't want to go to war.
But when it comes right down to it, a lot of these extremes are starting to fade away. The alt-right is basically dead at this point.
Well, the alt-right has also had an incessant media campaign against it. So.
Yep. But once, like I said, if Antifa starts killing people, then that's basically the death knell. They won't last. All right, folks. If you have questions for the overflow, please do not forget to go ahead and put them in the chat. Tag our lead mod, Brainbox, so that he can pick those up for us. And Brain, remember to get the ones that, if there's any in the Discord that we missed, or ones on Twitter for us. And then we will definitely...
At least one on...
Yeah, because we did have a couple of people say that we missed some questions last week. We do apologize. There was a lot. So,
Oh, God.
But one thing to mention is that there is a good chance that... or when you watch the overflow, we will usually say if there was something that got asked twice. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get into... we're going to go ahead and bring this to the end. So... stick around. We, of course, are going to be doing the entertainment podcast. We'll be talking about our picks for the week. Hatman watched some Lego thing. I'll be talking about Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And then we'll also be talking a little bit more on the Vic Mignogna thing and some other stuff, too. But until that point, my name is Micah Curtis.
Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
We'll see you guys soon. Deus Volt.
Deus.